Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Comment of the Week for February 2nd through the 8th, 2021. These are the very best comments from that time period. Starting out, we have the three honorable mentions going to Jeremy Graffox, Red Stratus 97, and Heavy Metal Gamer Show. The bronze medal comes to us from Art Bell. Is OEDP trying to be the next beat-em-ups or Dreamcast guy? This might be an act versus actions distinction, but the act Pete puts on is hammed up as Dreamcast guy. In this Amico preview video, Pete sounds dazzled to the stars. It's voice acting for sure to my ears. Hearing audio only, I feel concerned for his well-being almost. Pete is going for the kid's entertainer, a Barney Dinosaur level of presentation, acting to the back row in a theater versus acting to a nearby webcam. Projecting. Dreamcast guy puts on the affected, paused, overpronounced, upbeat voice and gestures. I lean that way, since Pete avoids the woods-level zany super ham where you expect mental health to show up with a giant butterfly net and much-needed tranquilizer darts. Is Pete going for beat-em-ups gig or DCG? Is Pete after a slice of the child video market? He has the unity message, kindness, and we are all in this together vibe. Either way, I sense the phony friendship seduction showing up later on in his YouTube career. His act summons what Uncle YouTube was policing with Kappa. That policy went nowhere past a certain point. In a general sense, past anyone specifically. I hope YouTube finds a way to better monitor YouTubers who want the kid audience. Woods is not a great look for YouTube. One is enough. But yeah, Art OED Pete seems like your garden variety, super overly positive gaming channel. You know, it's obviously not his real character. I don't think anybody will stop by. Well, there might be some people who stop by and explain to me how I'm wrong, but no, that's not how he is in real life. He's hamming it up for YouTube, being a fake character, and he's got the donations. You know, small channel, OED Pete, but he's already got the memberships. So yeah, this one seems like he's on that way to maybe be the next beat-em-ups or Dreamcast guy, or possibly the Happy Console Gamer Show. Next up, with the silver medal, we got Rusty Shackelford. Yeah, Nintendo is a mixed bag. Not happy with the idea of paying $35 a year for a family plan, even though I use it more than I do with PS Plus or Xbox Live Gold. But I often wait for deals to purchase a plan for less than the suggested retail price. Though I will admit, my online experiences with the Switch has been better than the Wii U. As much as I love the addition of NES and the SNES library, I would much prefer the Virtual Console. Also, they no longer add games on a monthly basis anymore, which I think is a slap in the face. An even bigger issue is the cloud save support, which is limited to certain titles. I can understand Pokemon not getting the support for cloud saves, but Splatoon 2 and Animal Crossing? Come on, really? Also, I think there's a misconception of people not criticizing Nintendo. I guess it really depends on where people look, but I often see people upset with Nintendo in recent years for 7 things you list. Nintendo Switch Online, cloud saves, NES and SNES library, lack of voice chat, online functionality in general. 2. Joy-Con drift, which they have been piling up multiple class action lawsuits across the globe. 3. Wii U ports costing $60, which is often the same price or even more than when sold on the Wii U. 4. Handling of tournaments both in person and online, mainly with prizes. 5. Handling of the competitive scene, more specifically with the Melee and now Splatoon. 6. Lack of updates to the Switch UI. 7. The Nintendo Ambassadors Program, most common one among YouTubers. Honestly, the list goes on, but like I said before, it really just depends on where you're looking at. Also like to add in that Sony and Microsoft tend to budge when they receive backlash, Nintendo not so much. So I can see why the backlash lasts longer for Sony and Microsoft but not for Nintendo, which may be why people believe Nintendo is never criticized. The backlash on certain things, recently with Microsoft, they quickly went back on that raising the price of Xbox Live. Could you imagine if it was the same case with Nintendo? Maybe Nintendo feels like it really doesn't have to. But yeah, I could see all those criticism points there. The cloud saves. Why don't they have cloud saves for all their games? or at least all the ones that they make the Nintendo games. I don't really get that. Lack of voice chat. They still don't have voice chat. I remember years ago when Splatoon, they didn't have voice chat. Like, why don't they have voice chat? It's 2021. I don't understand that. And Joy-Con drift, that is a big problem. That is a big issue. I see how they've had multiple class action lawsuits. Like, you're Nintendo, and you can't get your joysticks right. Like, I'm used to on knockoff controllers, maybe like stuff like the Mad Catz or the... I forget this one I have right here, but I got it because I just wanted to kind of, try it out, look like a nice controller. I forget. It starts with an A, I think, the company that made this controller. But I noticed I was having an issue playing a lot of games, and I thought, well, what's wrong with this game? And it wasn't a game, it was actually the left thumbstick. And then I compared it to another controller, the regular white controller I got with my Xbox. See, I'm an Xbox person. I have a couple PlayStation consoles too, but Rusty, I'm an Xbox person. So even though you have the silver medal comment, a lot of these things I can't really speak of. The Switch UI, I mean, what do you want me to do? I can't. And I'm not going to go out and buy a Switch just so I can talk about the Switch and reply to comments because, I don't really like Nintendo as a company, and I don't want to give them any money, basically. All right, the gold medal comment. Man, this is going to be kind of rough to get through. It's a long one, so it's a little harder to read here because I have it in one window here. The gold medal goes to Altered Penguin. Maybe James Rolfe, realized he wasted his life being a full-time YouTuber. He is the sole provider for his family, so slaving himself for Screenwave to keep the lights on may be his only means. I mean, he doesn't have any real job prospects. James in college was a film major. I'm not putting down film majors, but look at this. I have 2 degrees, one in business and another in paralegal studies, and let me tell you, the job market for both of those positions is oversaturated. It's brutal out there. I can only imagine the non-existent job market for aspiring filmmakers in their 40s. If you look at his recent videos, the guy is phoning it in. I do not think James cares that much about being a gamer. I think he enjoys games because it was a part of his childhood. Let's be honest here. The guy is a movie buff with a penchant for anything retro. Retro games, retro music, and retro movies. Movies are his pride and joy. Take a look at where he sits when he does reviews, announcements, and other stuff he wants to talk about. It's the fake video store desk. Look at his fictitious rental store room with the old VHS tapes and Laserdisc. The guy loves movies and anything retro. He explains this a lot over the years. In one of his videos, he stated that he had no collection or desire to collect. All he had was Super Nintendo, and I think an Xbox. Friends, shop owners, and donators gave him systems and games to review as the nerd because they found his videos funny. Then, as his popularity grew, people started to send them in to him. 95% of his collection is fan-raised. So by that, I do not see him as a gamer or anyone who cares. The nerd is just a character who collects retro stuff he had as a child. I mean, the guy actually has a section for old board games. Maybe he is a hoarder, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, look at James and Mike Mondays. James used to look happy and sit and play games with his buddy. After a while, it looked as if he was being tortured, having to sit there and listen to Mike ramble on about the game or even care to play the games. It was like he was over the entire idea of retro gaming, like it lost its appeal to him. My opinion. James seemed more excited to talk about his garage band and horror movies. My observation, James is over the gaming scene. So, when we see him depressed, and let's be honest, James looks depressed doing those videos. That's a man whose entire life is deeply invested in a persona, an image he really is not into anymore. It was Mike who helped push and build the brand. Also, Mike gave James a good chunk of games and systems. Mike is the real angry video game nerd. He just cannot do it himself. He has the personality of an 80s AV Club geek in a bad sitcom. James wants to be a director. He had a chance making that AVGN movie. It wasn't good. It was really bad, but good bad. He could have became the next Sharknado-type director, but I think he wants to make good horror movies, which is also why we see him extremely happy during Halloween and Monster Madness. That is his true passion. Yet all we see now is a person who helped to create YouTube as a viable platform for content creators, the person who helped start the retro game YouTube scene, getting tired of the nerd shtick. Metal Jesus, Angry Joe, and all the other yokels owe their success to James. We are seeing a person who doesn't want to be the nerd anymore. He doesn't want to do YouTube to survive, but he is in too deep. He has 2 daughters and a wife that depend on him, so he has to shill crap and make these videos to stay afloat. Screenwave cashed in. They have their way on legendary Pokemon that they can control. Their proverbial golden goose. They have their very own legendary Pokemon that they can control. Sorry about that, right there. Yeah. I think a lot of this is spot on. Alter Penguin. I see a person that just doesn't seem to have the passion anymore, right? And I think a big part of why he had the passion for the nerd character is maybe because he was with his buddy Mike. And, you know, sometimes with your buddy, you do things you normally don't really care about or want to do because you're with your friend. I mean, I think we all have a friend out there that might be, you know, big into bowling or big into basketball, and maybe we're not. But because we're with our buddy, we're like, okay, I'll go bowling with you and everything. And sometimes you have fun. Now Mike's gone. So, and all the other people are gone. So it's him and the Screenwave guys. Doesn't look like he's having fun. Now, you know, the band stuff, I don't think a lot of people on his channel are happy with the band stuff. I think they would prefer him to just be the angry video game nerd all the time and the nerd uploads. So you get in this position, and any creator can get in that position to where maybe you do not want to upload the type of uploads that most people want you to upload. Maybe you want to venture out. Maybe you just do it so much where you lose a particular passion. It could be the other way around, whereas like if you make a lot of a particular type of upload, you try to make more of them to perfect your art, to perfect your craft. But then there might come a time to where you're like, okay, well, is this all it's going to be? You know, maybe he got to that point where he's like, is me putting on the nerd outfit and being angry and shitting on video games, is that pretty much all my life's going to be?